Hello, and welcome to another video lecture for Mr. Mosier's 8th grade U.S. History class. This is a lecture over the Progressive Era, kind of the introduction to this particular era. Great movements of change, 1890 to 1920 is kind of where we look at this particular time period, which sought to return the government to the people, to restore economic opportunities for all American citizens, and to correct injustices found in American life. The textbook reading for this particular topic comes to us from pages 662 to 667. There's kind of two guiding questions that we'll cover in this particular lecture, and that is, what were the goals of the progressive movement, and who were the Muckrakers? So there is a video that we watched in class about the progressive movement. This video can be found on the 8th grade video on demand wiki for students who may have missed this in class. But the video will discuss a lot of the general themes of the progressive era, and there's kind of three big areas that the progressives try to tackle. They want to fix government. Many people felt during this time period, during the Gilded Age, that government was corrupt. It was in the hands of the very wealthy, those robber barons that we've been learning about with the industrial era. So they felt that the average American's voice wasn't as heard as much as the wealthy business leaders of this time period. They want to restore economic opportunities in business, all those difficulties of workers that we've been learning about, the low pay, the long hours, the dangerous working conditions, child labor, young kids working in factories. They wanted to fix those and create better opportunities so more Americans could succeed in the system. And they wanted to correct injustices that were found in American life. And we'll kind of look at some of those injustices, the treatment of African Americans during this time period, the giving women the right to vote, the suffrage movement will kind of come out during this progressive era. So who are muckrakers? Well, a muckraker is a term that was given to journalists of this time period who kind of exposed the corruptions and other evils brought on by the Industrial Revolution. Teddy Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, talked a little bit about some of the impact that some of these journalists had during this period of time. And he says, there are in the body politic, economic, and social, and many and grave evils that are an urgent necessity for the sternest war upon them. There should be relentless exposure of and attack upon every evil man, whether politician or businessman, every evil practice, whether in politics, in business, or in social life. I hail as a benefactor every writer or speaker, every man who on the platform or in a book, magazine, or newspaper with merciless severity makes such attack, provided always that he in his turn remembers that the attack is of use only if it is absolutely truthful. And this is what President Theodore Roosevelt said in a speech in 1906, referring to a lot of these journalists. Ida Tarbell, Jacob Riis. These are some pretty big reporters who went out and looked at some of the problems of the industrial era, especially among the immigrants and the working poor, and wrote books, wrote magazine stories, newspaper articles about these challenges that the Americans were facing this time period to shed light on the problems of living in tenements, the long hours and unsafe working conditions, child labor, children being exploited for work. Those were all brought about by these muckrakers, these journalists that were trying to expose these problems in our society. So as we think about this time period of the progressive era, we kind of look at this idea of progressive movement bringing about progress, bringing about a change, whether it's in government, whether it's in business, whether it's in injustices in American life. And then the muckrakers, these journalists, played a pretty pivotal role in this Gilded Age, this era of the Second Industrial Revolution, to try and expose those evils that many average Americans were not aware of. They didn't live in the poor tenements. They didn't work in middle-class families, didn't always work in those poor factories and poor neighborhoods. And so being exposed to those kinds of problems helped bring about and facilitate some changes. And that's what we're going to be looking at throughout this unit of what change. And that's a key word you're going to hear me say a lot in this era, is the progressive era try to bring about changes and try to bring about positive changes in American society. So thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed listening. Have a great day.